With all the things that I don't know, you can feel a encyclopedia, but still that doesn't prevent me from turning this camera on and making tutorial after tutorial after tutorial with utter confidence in my knowledge and skills. And I don't know what that comes from, probably the fact that I was raised as an only child, but you know, it has no basis in reality. Just a couple of weeks ago I was telling you all about how great the SP404 MK2 is, except for the fact that you can't really mute individual pads on it. But don't worry, I said, because I found a workaround for you guys. I proceeded to lay out the most incredibly complex and convoluted solution to that problem, and it worked, and I felt great, except for the fact that there is a way to mute individual pads on the SP404 MK2. I just missed it in the manual. Simple as that. And as if that wasn't enough, literally the day after, I had another one of my long-held convictions completely shattered, and I'm gonna talk about it in this video. What is up, greedy guys? It's your boy Big Umami, and this is Volca Sample 1 versus Volca Sample 2. Why not both? AKA, do your research before you post a video, Mr. Big Umami. So as you know already, I'm a big fan of the Volca Sample series, and actually I have both the Volca Sample 1 and the Volca Sample 2. And the main reason why I decided to buy the Volca Sample 2, even if I had the Volca Sample 1 already, was a thing called step-by-step parameter locking. And straight away I'm already wrong about this, meaning that this is not the right terminology that korg actually uses for this particular function. Korg calls this motion sequence. And I always knew that on the Sample 1 you could record a motion sequence by pressing rec+play and, you know, move the knob of the parameter that you want to affect until you get the desired result. However, that is not particularly helpful when you want to assign a particular value to a particular step, which is exactly what you need when you create melodies, for example. What I hadn't realized until now is that you actually can record step-by-step motion sequencing on the Volca Sample 1, which is the reason why I bought the Volca 2 in the first place. So let me show you how it's done. Alright, let's say that you want to create a bass line on the Volca Sample 1. Let me just lay down some steps. Something very simple just to, you know, show you guys. Cool, so now we have a bunch of notes, they're all the same note. How do we go and change the pitches of all these notes? Well, first of all, you have to activate the motion sequence. And you do that by pressing Funk plus S2. And, you know, the motion sequence light turns on. So if you don't do this, this is not gonna work. So to change the pitch on a particular step, you press on the step, you keep it pressed, and you move the speed knob. Now, the problem is that if you just move the speed knob, it's going to do a very fine tuning on the pitch, and we don't want that. We want actually a step-by-step note. And you can do that by, again, keeping this pressed, and then you press Funk, and then you change the speed. And as you can see, now it says -2, -3, so those are actual precise note intervals. Now, what is going to happen if I press play? Let's see. All the notes are at -2 right now, so we haven't really solved anything, did we? Well, that's because the Volca Sample 1 functions in a fundamentally different way compared to the Volca Sample 2. Let me just show you what I mean by that. I have a very similar pattern right here with a bass note. Let me just find the part. Cool. So on the Volca Sample 2, first of all, you don't have to turn the motion sequence on and off. If you press on a step and then press function and speed, did you see that? This turned automatically on. And as you can hear, only that particular note was affected. Why? Well, because the Volca Sample 2 automatically assigns a bass value to all of these notes, and automatically thinks that all of these notes have their own bass value, if that makes sense. The Volca Sample 1 doesn't. So it's a bit convoluted, and that's the reason why I thought that the step-by-step motion sequencing actually didn't work on the Volca Sample 1. So how do we solve this problem? Well, first of all, we need to assign a bass value for all notes that we have written in the sequencer. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do just that. I'm gonna assign a base value of 0 for all of these, except for this that we actually have changed already. And now it works. Fantastic. So it's a bit more work to actually have step-by-step motion sequencing on the Volca Sample 1, but it's definitely doable. So when I found out about this, for me it was a complete game changer. And shout out to Chris Lodi on YouTube, because I watched a video of his on the Volca Sample chopping breaks for drum and bass, and that explains all of this very, very well. And yeah, thank you so much, because you opened up a whole world for me right now. Because the only thing that I really missed on the Volca Sample 2 compared to the Volca Sample 1 is the ability to actually make songs. You see, on the Volca Sample 2, you can chain up to 2 patterns together to make a song. But it's not really a song, it's basically just a couple of patterns chained together, and that's it. So this is a kind of a helpful feature, but not really, because what happens if I want to have 4-bar patterns? Or maybe what happens if I want to repeat pattern 1 twice and then pattern 2 twice? I mean, it's very limited. The Sample 1, on the other hand, has the possibility to actually make full songs. Like so, you have up to 6 songs like this, and you have up to 10 patterns chained together in whichever order you see necessary. Like for example, this has got 1, 2, 3, 4, but you know, you can change this as well and maybe do like 1, 1, 3, 3, and you know, 5, 5, whatever. I mean, it's very flexible. It's a very powerful tool. So I used to think, if only I could create melodies on the Volca Sample 1 by using step-by-step motion sequence, then I could you know, organize them in songs, and then this would act as a backing track for all my chords and melodies and bass lines, and I could use this as pretty much as a live drum machine, as a performance-based drum machine, which is exactly what I do with the PO33 Plus Volca Sample 2 setup, which you can watch the video for. I think it's in the top right hand corner right now. But yeah, it turns out that I can do that, so that's very exciting. Without further ado, let me just jam a little bit and let's make a beat together. But before I do that, let me just remind you that all the drum samples that you're gonna hear in the Volca Sample 2 in this video are part of my Big Umami Bombs Volume 1 sample pack, and you can find that at bigumami.com. If you don't care about my sample packs, you can also support me at buymeacoffee.com/bigumami. Alright, enough talking, let's go. Let's lay down some kicks on the Sample 2 to get started. Let's drop some keys on the Sample 1. It's a long sample with multiple chords, and I'm automating the start point using motion sequence. Let's add some 90s guitar rompler vibes. Bit too loud. Again, I'm gonna make a melody using motion sequence. And I'm gonna keep the old school vibes with a piano. I'm gonna add a nice vocal sample next. And now it's time for me to expand this loop to a 2-bar loop The 2 bar will have a chord variation, and I'm gonna use song mode to loop between bar 1 and 2, and yo, what's this? Well, this is what I call a happy accident. While working on song mode, there was a pattern left undeleted from a previous session, which sounds awesome with the sounds that I imported for this song today. Sometimes these accidents are the best thing for your creativity. I'm gonna edit my main keys sample to make it sound like this happy accident that I've discovered. I'm gonna add some drums, some shakers, and let's not forget the bass. For this, I'll lay down the rhythm first, then I'll make a bass line using the motion sequence method I explained earlier. And a good old school house track is nothing with a high-pitched string sample. I'm particularly proud of this because I cut it in such a way that you could loop it seamlessly like a drone. Anyway, I think we're done here. I'm gonna arrange it all in patterns and try and jam this out. Alright, that's it for today. I talked a lot, so I'm not gonna say much more. I promise in the future I'll be a bit more thorough with my research before, you know, being so cocksure about things that are absolutely not true. But yeah, maybe I'll read the manuals more carefully, but in the meantime, here's some more volca videos for you. Remember to visit bigumami.com for those sweet sample packs, buymeacoffee.com/bigumami to support me in my YouTube journey, and yeah, that's it. Love you.